Welcome our viewers and listeners. My name is Stephen Kamore. I am the Program Director, Counseling Research Institute of Kenya. And in our today's program, we are hosting a guest. And I want to give him an opportunity to tell us who he is and whatever else you want the viewers and our listeners to know about you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. My name is Mutua Wilson from Grace Impact Center. I'm the senior pastor, and in this program, courtesy of Craig, it's a pleasure having all of us on board to discuss on very pertinent matters concerning the church.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm happy to have met you, Pastor Mutua. You have been a great friend for a long time. And today, I have an assignment and a very serious question that I want us to address and probably empower our viewers on. As an organization, we believe that knowledge is power. And when power is shared, when knowledge is shared, power is not pride. Now, in my duties as a researcher, I have made a very interesting observation about the role of the church in the socio-economic empowerment of its members and the society. And I want to ask you, in your own view, do you feel the church has a role in enhancing and promoting the socio-economic welfare of its members? And does it have an impact to do the same in transforming our society?
Well, that's a very important question, Mr. Stephen Kamore. The role of the church in socio-economic transformation of their members, as well as the general community by extension. The church should play an active role in the socio-economic development, starting from its own members and also by extension the community, because it is in the Bible. Mm-hmm. When you look at the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, God has a concern about the church developing in a balanced manner, not in a skewed way. Mm-hmm. The general church is skewed towards spiritual matters only, mm-hmm. and this is as opposed to God's desire, mm-hmm. For the church to balance to develop in a balanced manner.
Now, Mutua,
yeah,
do you want to tell me that the Bible has a structure on how the church should nurture the society or the members in terms of their socio-economic lives?
Yes, mm-hmm. It has a role in doing that. And I was saying right from the book of Genesis, mm-hmm. and coming down, you see people like Abraham, just to mention a few. Abraham is a patriarch. He is referred to as a father of faith, or the one who discovered faith, walking with God. And this man, if you look at his life, he is a worshipper. He's also an entrepreneur. This man impacted not only his own family, his own household, but he was impacting the community around. This man had servants that he had trained in his house that were able to engage in warfare. This man had flocks of cattle, camel, etc., name them. And he not only impacted the people around him on spiritual matters, but also touching on socio-economic empowerment. The man at one time, he was told to vacate a particular region by the Philistines, and they referred to him as a prince.
Now, can I ask a question?
As a prince, mm-hmm. because he had impacted that region until they discerned that this man is not just a normal man, but he's a prince. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, can I ask you, because our viewers and listeners must be asking themselves probably a question. Now, how do you help us to understand this concept of the socio-economic role of the church? By giving probably a practical illustrations.
Well, in Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18, the Bible says that it is God who gives us power to generate wealth so that we can fulfill or be part of the covenant which he made with our forefather. Mm-hmm. You know that there are things that God promised our forefathers who did not live enough to actually see the things come to pass. People like Abraham and other, great men of faith. There are things they saw far off that are supposed to be fulfilled in our time, and yet did not live long enough to see them. Now, the current church of the 21st century is now going to bring those prophetic reality to accomplishment. And one of the ways to do that is through the resources that God is entrusting in their hands through entrepreneurial initiative, even employment or gainful employment opportunities that they find themselves engaging in. And because of that, God entrusts resources in our hands through employment, acquired through employment, acquired through entrepreneurial initiatives that we engage in, and for that one purpose, to advance God's purpose.
Okay. So, therefore, according to what I'm getting from you, is that the church should engage itself in promoting the relationship of the members, the family, the employment, or even empower the members on how to invest.
Yes.
Now, because this is a gap that we are observing in many church institutions. Now, in your own view, what intervention measures would you recommend to our churches so that at least our viewers and listeners can have an idea on how the church can come in and have the socio-economic transformation?
Wow, that's a wonderful and very important question, Mr. Kamore. Thank you for that one. That the church can engage in a number of areas. There are quite a number. And I want to base them on biblical evidence in Jeremiah 29 from verse 5.
Yes.
When they were taken to the Babylonian captivity, God told them to address those issues. The first thing they were taught to build houses and live in them. Build houses and dwell in them. Houses here represent socio-economic interventions. Socio-economic intervention, like having a medical scheme. Like in our country we have NHIF. In case one is sick, you are able maybe to, through that program or through that scheme that is owned by the government, one is able to mitigate on the effect of an ailment in case one is admitted. And you can also belong in a group. You've talked about family units and all that. Social groups that can also help us when maybe we do contribution during weddings or when someone is sick. So those social groupings are important, or groups where we enter or we join group for purposes of saving. So someone can also join a circle. And the other thing God told them before you raise that issue is they were also told to start investments. They were told you build houses, that is a social interventions. And the other thing is they plant vineyards and eat their fruits. Vineyard, Mr. Kamore, they represent what? Economic activities that they should engage in. And then I'll continue with the rest.
I think from what I'm getting from you, I want to strongly agree.
Yeah.
You have just reminded me of the approach our Christian missionaries that they used when they brought Christianity to us.
Yeah.
And when I look at most of the hospitals today, when I look at most of the schools, they were started by the Christian missionaries. In other words, they use the socio-economic approach. One, to empower the society, and at the same time as an evangelization tool. And I think this is a very interesting approach.
Yeah.
And our viewers and our listeners, because I know out there is this pastor who is listening to us. There is this elder of the church who is listening to us. There is this minister of the gospel. You are telling us that we should not just emphasize just on spiritual matters only. We need to take the welfare of the members of the church seriously.
Yes.
You need to think about their health.
Yes.
You need to think about, and when I talk about health, it is not only the physical health. You know, the World Health Organization defines health as the social, economic, spiritual, and social wellness of an individual. And therefore, even if you are spiritually empowered, and socially you have some challenges. Like now, I'm trying to think about a scenario like this one. I saw in one of the social media, these people, this person who is a good church leader, but has a broken family.
Yeah.
Does the church have a role in enhancing those social institutions? I think this is what we are trying to ask ourselves.
Exactly.
Or is it only that we preach the word of God so that people just go to heaven? You know, before we go to heaven, I'm sorry to say, we have the world to live in here.
Exactly.
We will have to give birth to children. We have to feed them. We have to educate them. And I've seen churches or people who tend to believe that going to hospital is not right. Or even sometimes creating other investments. So what I want you to tell us, Father, what activities in actuality, in the real, that the church should really, or what areas of emphasis, because I try to believe that a strong Christian is a socially and economically well-nurtured Christian. I try to imagine you go to a church today, you are a pastor, and by the way, from the Grace Impact, you go to church today and you find that the people who have come are not, they are stuffing. They are walking in the church in tatters. They are in great poverty, and their children are not going to school. They have no sources of income. Now, how they balance then their spirituality and continue having a well-nurtured life in this world if they don't focus on those areas? So probably you can tell us more on what really the church needs to do, because this is a gap that we have, and even the research is really supporting it. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I like your observation, and it's quite true what you have observed over time. And you are a researcher and also a trainer, and whenever you are invited in churches or in other organizations to do counseling or capacity building sessions, that is also part of socio-economic transformation, because we talked about social intervention, and issues of social is how people are supposed to cope in a group or to be able to get along well in a group setup, whether a family setup or a social setup, and I know you are an expert in that area. So anytime, Mr. Kamore, you're invited to do such a program, what that church is doing, they are trying to enhance their social skills. And also, you understand that not all churches have the ability, like the missionaries and other churches that we have today, can start a school. Not all churches can be able to start a hospital, but they can still enhance the wellness of their members in terms of social, spiritual, and physical, through capacity building. When you are invited to do such a talk, what are you doing? We are not saying that you must start a church, a school, or a hospital, but you can still enhance or facilitate and build capacity among your members, whether it's a company or an organization, through your input as a counselor, by way of training them and building capacity. So, as church should also identify gaps in the church. Do our members need parenting? Now I know you are an author. This is your book. Yeah, I have a copy about the art of parenting.
Yes.
And you don't need to start a school, or you don't need to start a hospital to address mental issues or issues related to health matters. You can organize a training session, and that will also facilitate or go a long way in addressing that gap.
Okay, may
So
I ask
through training. So you as an expert, you can do that.
Yes.
So what we are saying to our viewers, we don't need to start schools and all that if we are not in a position of doing that.
Now, can I ask you a close question?
Yeah.
As a pastor,
Yeah.
and you are in the church, one of the area or one way through which the church can literally empower and improve the social welfare of the members is embracing counseling.
Yeah.
Now, I would want to hear from your perspective. Where is the place of counseling in the church?
Yeah.
And what impact do you think people embrace counseling? Do you think pastors and the churches are doing enough to fight the stigma associated with the counseling? Because this is one of the areas in which we can actually enhance the social welfare of our of our members.
Good.
So what, as a pastor now and as an authority in the church, what is your view about that?
Well, I don't want to digress so much to issues counseling, because the focus of our discussion is socio-economic transformation. And you have defined, according to World Health Organization, that health includes physical, mental, and the spiritual wellness. And so we are focusing on all of them. But according to your question, for the sake of your question, I believe counseling is
and
important.
also for the sake of the
Counseling is important.
this is why I'm asking this.
Yeah.
Because in the church today, you are finding members committing suicide.
And that's what we are saying. Counseling is part of it.
Yeah,
We
that's
need
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
And I tend to think that this is part of the social welfare.
Yeah.
I'm finding in the church families are breaking. I'm finding probably within the church people having depressions and stress. And you know, this is part of the social, because I tend to believe that when those areas are not well addressed, especially the mental health, there is no way those people would even be economically productive.
That's what I'm saying. In the course of my pastoral work,
yes,
I've referred cases where I felt this person, he doesn't just need spiritual intervention, not just about prayer. We need a counselor, and I've always done that. When in the process of counseling someone, you want to refer them or to connect them with a counselor in a specific area where they can be counseled. And so that is very important. Church should embrace counseling. It's part of it, and especially if it is done by believers like you and others, so that we are able to integrate the role, the issue of socioeconomic development holistically, not just being skewed towards spirituality and ignoring, because man is three parts. Man has a spirit, man has a body, and man has a soul.
Yes.
And the soul is the part of the psyche, the emotions and all that. And I think that is where psychological counseling comes in. So I support that, Mr. Kamore.
Yes.
And that's why I've always supported you in your programs whenever you invited me.
Yes.
But maybe going back to the other areas of intervention in the socioeconomic transformation of the church, I've mentioned about the social interventions, and counseling is part of it, and economic activities, according to Jeremiah 29 verse 5, starting vineyards and eating their fruits. Those are economic initiatives that the church needs to engage in or encourage their members to participate in. If you're in a church where young people are jobless, you can call someone like you to talk to them about creating employment or how you can go a long way in getting yourself a place to work. At least all of us that are supposed to be gainfully involved in socio-economic transformation. Number three, they were told to start families to facilitate the marriage of their sons and daughters. They give their daughters out for marriage and also get wives for their sons, so that their demographics were balanced and not affected. So God is so concerned about family establishment. Number four, that they were told political involvement, their civic duty. You have so many Christians, Mr. Kamore, who abuse the government, especially on the social media. They talk ill of the president. Some of them are believers, and I have been following them even on my page. And some of them are my friends, and they really talk ill of the state. While the Bible tells us to pray for those in authority, so that we may live peaceful lives here in this world. And so the issue of civic duty, making sure when it is time to vote, you participate, and that is your democratic right, and engaging in that democratic process, which is godly, and of course not using derogative language, especially on the social media, respecting our political leaders because it's biblical, and also praying for them. So the civic duty of the church is to pray for the state, advisory role, and also, Mr. Kamore, complementary role. You've talked about the missionaries, they build schools, hospitals. That is a complementary role that the church ought to pray or to participate in matters to do with socio-economic transformation. So the church can complement the government in the area of education, in the area of health, and other areas. So when you have a school, when you have a medical facility, you are, as a church, complementing the government. And by that, you are participating in this socio-economic transformation. And finally, but not the least, they were told to be careful about the false prophets. The false prophets. Jeremiah told them Babylonian captivity will last for 70 years. But the other prophets, Mr. Kamore, who are insisting it is only 2 years. So if you are told it is 2 years, you disengage. Because a false prophecy creates, it disengages you from actively getting involved. When you get a wrong word, a wrong prophetic word, a wrong doctrine, it makes you to wrongly engage in the marketplace, in your life. Like now the people in Shakahola, they got the wrong teaching, the wrong doctrine, and you can see the impact of a wrong teaching. And that's why God was careful about what information they were getting from these false prophets, because it would have affected their engagement while in Babylon. And you, in the introductory part, you said, we are in this world. Before Jesus comes, we know Jesus is coming back, but we must occupy till he returns.
Yes.
We must do business, we must parent, and that's why we have such a good parenting book by Mr. Kamore, The Art of Parenting, so that you can also learn about parenting while waiting for the second coming of Jesus Christ, but also occupy and actively being involved in the socio-economic aspects of our members as a church and also the community by extension. So those are the areas, among many others. The social interventions, Mr. Kamore, the entrepreneurial or economic activities we need to engage in, which is vineyards, and socio-economic intervention is housing, and number 3, family establishment, and number 4, the civic duty, praying for the state, praying for the peace of that land, because their prosperity depended upon the safety and the existence of peace in that city that were going on, that they were going to. And number 5, not the least, the issue of spiritual aspects, taking care of the false prophets, not listening to their diviners among them, and they were only supposed to listen to the true prophet of God, Jeremiah, who insisted that this captivity would last for 70 years, and that was the true position.
Oh, this is very interesting.
Yeah.
Our viewers and listeners, what we are getting from our dear Pastor Mutua from the Grace Impact Center, and I think the church is in Juja.
Yeah, we are located in Juja, CBD, and that's why we meet for our
where in particular? So
we are at the Citadel.
You know, we may have somebody who is in Juja and is listening to us.
Yeah, Citadel.
And may want to have a visit and probably enjoy more of the teachings.
Yeah. Citadel Hotel upstairs there, 5th floor. Our Sunday services start at 9 every Sunday up to 11:30.
Okay. So what I was saying is that we have really been informed that the church is in the world.
Yes.
That's what you are telling us. And in the world, there are principles that we must follow. There are things that we must do. And there are standards that we need before we transit to the heavenly kingdom.
Yes.
And you are telling us that apart from just preaching the gospel, apart from just becoming saved, we need to be economically empowered. You know, when I was growing up, we grew up knowing that the church is the poorest place to be. In fact, in our mother tongue, they used to say by quote, you know, because the rats in the church was so poor that even the rats themselves could have nothing to eat. And therefore we are saying now, we are in a modern society. And Christians must embrace the power of reason. Because you have brought a very good concept that we need to be empowered. Now, empowerment is about reason. It's about learning. And therefore, you're telling the church, we don't just to be spiritual. We need to tell the society and our members that while in this world, we must have families. And when you have families, families must eat. And they will not eat manna because the days of manna is gone. So they will eat food. So you need to embrace farming. You need to start small businesses. So the church has a role in teaching the members on entrepreneurship. And by the way, because I know you are very good in economics, and I have heard you talk about it, the kingdom entrepreneurship. Can you briefly mention something about it? Because I may say that the church must empower people to invest, and then some people might think probably it is not spiritual. So what is this that the church can do, especially in helping the members? Because now employment and employment is a big challenge. And do we have a way the church can actually bring that? So tell us briefly about the kingdom entrepreneurship.
Wow, thank you. So right from Genesis, I said from the beginning that when God created Adam, he created a context. That context was a garden, and he was supposed to till the land. He was supposed to cultivate, and cultivating is making it better. This man had a responsibility that embraced both spiritual, because he used to connect with God. God would visit him in the cool of the day. And then at the same time, the guy was supposed to be productive in the land. And productivity in the garden, that is a commercial, economic activity in the garden. There were fruits there, and so whatever garden it was, it communicates the idea of business. Somebody being busy, working, tilling the land, in as much as he also had time. Abraham also was an entrepreneur. He was a great investor. He had camel, he had cows and all that. He had cattle. He was a rich man. The Bible says he was very wealthy. That he even engaged, he went to war against kings. So he was a prince. He had socio-economic empowerment, and that's why he had 450 servants trained in his house. And later in the history of the church, Mr. Kamore, we say in the medieval age, in the 16th century, there was a man called Martin Luther. And when he brought in the reformation of the church, one of the tenets of his reformation was socio-economic, or changing the paradigm of the socio-economic aspect, because in the medieval age, the church at that particular time was just telling the people, the doctrine of the day was that you only work just to meet basic needs. And then they also propounded the same, that if you engage outside the four corners of the wall, that was not considered to be work. And so Luther, he changed the paradigm, and then the Calvin and the other guys who came and just wrote a lot on that area. And because of their teaching, the people are able to change, and they embrace entrepreneurship, and that is the mother of capitalism. Although it was taken on the other extreme, but they were not able to balance it well, so it was taken to the extreme. And because of Luther's teaching and other guys like Calvin, Europe was able to embrace that. People changed, they embraced economic activities, and we came even to the age of enlightenment and the industrial revolution. Those guys came here in Africa looking for low material, also cheap labor in terms of slavery. So you asked about the role of the church. The church can teach correct doctrine. And through that teaching,
so that we can help our listener. This program is meant to touch on the real contemporary issues.
Yes.
It is good you are giving us the background from where you are coming from. But now, being a pastor, there is this member of the church who is saved and very committed. But he always spends all his time praying. And he does not probably engage in entrepreneurship activities. Now, and he just sits in the house waiting that God will intervene one day. Now, what advice? Because that kind of a culture is very common.
Yes.
What kind of, is it fanaticism, or what kind of an advice would you like to give to such kind of Christians?
The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 6, you go to the ants and learn the principle of hard work. They don't have a governor, they don't have a leader, and then they're able to gather in the right time. And the other thing is Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18. I'll give you power. It is, remember the Lord your God. Because it is Him who gives you power to generate wealth. For what purpose? For the purpose of fulfilling my covenant, which I made with your forefathers. So what will God bless you? God does not bless prayers only. He blesses the work of your hands. So you've got to tell Him to give you power. So when God gives you power, He does not generate the wealth for you. It is you, the believer, you pray for power, and here power is not people falling down. It's not the power to slay people. Here power is innovation, creativity, ideas, opportunities that God brings to us. And once those opportunities, creativities, innovations are presented to us, we need now to actualize them, because that is now the power. And now we generate wealth using the power given to us by God. So God gives the power, we generate wealth. So God will not give you power to sleep on it. God will not give you power and you expect Him to generate wealth for you. So it is you, the believer, once you're given that power, creativity, opportunity to go to be in school, to be in a company, to be working, to be an owner of a business somewhere, that's the opportunity, and that is the power that God gives you. You are supposed to generate wealth. The Bible says also elsewhere, the poor and the rich, God created both of them.
Yes.
But now the difference is how they use the God-given creation.
Yes.
God did not create anyone poor. God did not create rich people. But at the initial stage, God created both of them, and He gave them eyes. But God does not make you poor or rich. The issue of becoming poor or rich is your own decision you make. So God created them with capacity to become all that they should become. But you choose to be poor, and you choose to be rich. It's a choice. It's a choice.
You have made me a very interesting story.
Yes.
I think I am loving the debate.
Yes.
You have read about this man in the Bible called Lazarus. And you know Lazarus was a man of God.
Yeah.
I was a very faithful servant of God. But sometimes when I read, I don't know that is the language, that probably makes me think that Lazarus, to be poor was a Lazarus' choice. Because the Bible says, if the version that I read is okay, I'm there to be corrected. Because we want to empower the viewer. We want to be very objective, not subjective. The Bible says that Lazarus always desired to eat the crumbs of the table. And so I'm imagining Lazarus praying. And he is out of the king's palace. What are the prayer? Father, may you help these people to get enough food so that once they eat, I may get the remains. And God was faithful. And He was getting the remains. So I tend to believe that the same God who was blessing the king had the ability to transform the life of Lazarus economically. And that's why we are saying in our program here, literally we are not preaching. This program, no, our motto as an organization, Counseling Research Institute of Kenya, it is to research, empower, and transform. So we want to target the logical part of you. And I'm realizing that Christians are with time ignoring the power of reason.
Yeah.
And when I read in the book of Isaiah, God at a certain time told the Israelites, my people come, we reason together.
Yeah.
And I think now this is what we are doing in the program. We want to reason together so that we may get empowered. Otherwise, we may not get empowered if we don't embrace the power of reason. Now, and that's why I'm asking you, you have talked about Shakahora issue.
Yeah.
As we conclude.
Yeah.
Can you see lack of reason in that?
Yeah.
And let us, for example, illustrate. You are a pastor.
Yeah.
You are telling me that we go and fast. And then I sell all my items, I bring resources to you. And then all of a sudden, I go to the forest and starve waiting to see Jesus. And in the evening, you are eating. you are also investing in the resources that we are giving you. What would you really blame this on? I tend to think the church must bring back the power of reason.
That's true.
And in conclusion, what I'm saying, if you read in the Bible, the Bible says that our mind is a stronghold of the devil. And you see, Satan will not fight you physically. He just want to come and play with your mind by planting arguments that are contrary to the principles of the Word of God. Look at what he did to Jesus when he was testing him. He was telling you, I understand, you are the Son of God, but let us listen together. Look at the properties, the things, this terrain. I will give them all to you if you want to worship me. But Jesus was listening to him. Look at what happened to Eve in the Garden of Eden. The devil just comes and says, look here. This is a good fruit. You can eat it. This God does not want you to live like him. In other words, we are telling our viewers and listeners, this is the right time that pastors and religious leaders must bring the power of reason back to the Christians. And therefore you are telling us we need to embrace the concept of empowerment.
Yeah.
We need to empower our Christians and the society on socio-economic issues. Do you want stable, healthy Christians? Then teach them entrepreneurship. Teach them communication. Give them life skills. It is not only the Bible from morning to the evening. Because even as a Christian, I always also preach through the life that I live. Imagine now if you found me seated at the gate there, and as you were coming to our studio, and I have no idea children who are at home. I think I will not look responsible. So responsibility must be brought back by empowering our church members on this particular. Anyway, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
It has been a very, very good and insight-giving discussion. I look forward to discuss. Especially, I have some interest on how the church can embrace kingdom entrepreneurship. Because if there's a place where we should have wealth, if there's a place where we should have healthy people, if there's a place where we should have role models in the family, it is in the church. If the church can embrace its place in the social economic empowerment. Now, as we conclude, what will be your parting words related to what we have discussed today? And preferably, in case the viewers may want to learn more from you. Do you have a social network where they can meet you and probably learn more?
You can get me on Grace Impact Center, my Facebook page, or Wilson Derito Mutua, and also my YouTube channel, Grace Impact Center. And my parting shot is that the Bible is very clear about issues of socio-economic transformation, and I think teaching the people the right doctrine is key. And I have taken time even to give from the Bible and also the church history. That's why I wanted to take time to explain that from the days of Luther and what happened, the impact of his teaching on what Europe is today. Europe is what it is today because of a man who stood up and gave the right teaching and decided to give people the right prophecy. Like in the days of Jeremiah 29, Jeremiah was saying 70 years. The false prophets were insisting 2 years. And this meant that people would have been deactivated because it's only 2 years and then we come back. But 70 years meant, in as much as they had to go back home, that they had to actively get involved and engage for the 70 years. But 2 years, those who believe in the doctrine of 2 years, I want to believe they were not effective in their engagement. And so if we go back to the right teachings in the Bible and also embracing other knowledge that are relevant, that also help us, plus what we believe in the Bible, like in your area, counseling is also very important. We need to embrace skills that will also and help us to engage effectively in our mortal life here on earth. And so thank you for having me in this studio. It's always a pleasure to come to Craig. This is the place to be and to learn these wonderful things. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank
hosting
you.
us,
Thank
hosting
you, Pastor Wilson.
Yeah.
Our listeners and our viewers, we are glad you have taken an opportunity to listen to us. The Bible is very clear in the book of Hosea that my people perish for lack of knowledge. And for that reason, we are here.
Thank you.
To ensure the power of reason. To ensure that people of God get the right knowledge. And therefore, I want to encourage you, my listener and my viewer, make this program your program. You can always follow me in my YouTube. Please go there and just subscribe. There are so many, there's a lot of information we have recorded for you. You can download it for free. Remember, knowledge is power. And I will keep on saying this. And when knowledge is shared, power is multiplied. In case you have forums in your church, in case you have forums in your school, or even in your organization, we have a lot to share with you in terms of leadership, in terms of family and marriage life, in terms of educational standards, in terms of counseling and mentorship. And therefore, I want to review with this final word, that don't allow yourself to perish for lack of knowledge. Be our partner, follow us, and your life will never be the same. Mutua, you can wave the clients.
Thank you.
And tell them, our listeners and viewers,
God bless you.
That God to bless them.
God bless you.
See you in the upcoming programs.
Thank you.